The way that fitness is defined in the modern fitness community leads to many lifters never achieving true fitness at all. When most lifters think of getting in shape, they think of it in one of two potential different ways, or maybe both, depending on who they are. The first is demonstrative visible fitness, having mass, being lean, the kinds of things that somebody can look at you and think, damn, that guy looks like he's really in shape. The second is what most people refer to as functional strength, which is a good thing to want to build, but what most people do to build functional strength doesn't build anything functional. What do most lifters do to build functional strength? If you look online, articles for advice on building functional strength, the advice that they give is to lift heavy for short reps with a lot of rest, building explosive muscular strength. This is the kind of muscular strength that allows you to lift very heavy weights for very few reps. And when it comes to building that specific type of muscular strength, that's a pretty effective way to train. That's a very good way to train if you want explosive muscular strength and explosive muscular strength alone. However, that's only half of the equation when it comes to actual muscle fitness, and is actually the less quote-unquote functional half. The other half is muscular endurance. Muscular endurance is your ability to keep up sub-maximal muscular efforts for a longer period of time. This is what you're training when you follow what some people say to do a lot of reps for a lot of sets with shorter rests in lighter weights. Most guys who go to the gym aren't even really aware of this distinction, which has a lot to do with the actual science of your muscle fibers. I would highly recommend doing your own research on this, looking at diagrams, because it's very interesting. But there are two different types of muscle fibers, which is something that a lot of people know. You know, there's the fast twitch explosive muscle fibers, and then there's the slower twitch muscle fibers that work over a longer period of time, aren't as immediately strong, but last longer. A lot of gym bros know about this, but they don't really think about what they're training as they train. Training for your 1 rep max is training your fast twitch muscle fibers. Training for muscular endurance trains your slow twitch muscle fibers. And a lot of guys who train just for heavy weights, and also guys generally who train just specifically for hypertrophy, are leaning a lot more toward the fast twitch muscle fiber side of that equation. Now, muscular endurance is so rarely trained for multiple reasons. First of all, a lot of guys just simply don't know about it. They just know about strength, and they figure if they're getting stronger somehow, if they're lifting more total weight, it just all falls under the box of strength. Second of all, training muscular endurance is pretty boring and also pretty unpleasant because you're just doing a bunch of reps, you're doing more sets, you're doing less breaks, you have less time to scroll on your phone. But I think the biggest reason why muscular endurance is so often left by the wayside in favor of maximal strength or hypertrophy is because it's much harder to quantify and share with others. If you have visible gains in mass, in definition, it's literally visible. Somebody can just look at you and know that that happened. Or you can tell people what your 1 rep max is. It's a very standard system. Everybody knows it's just 1 rep. We don't have to quibble about, well, I did this for this many reps, but I did this for a different amount of reps. No, it's just everybody did the same amount of reps. Who is stronger in just the 1 rep max? The standardized parameters these days of both visual fitness and 1 rep max make it a lot easier for you to share with other people gains in your fitness journey because everything is standard. Everybody knows what the parameter that they're training for and trying to brag about is. And this brings us to the core of the issue. The way that fitness is defined, the way that it's bragged about, the way that it's shared, the way that you tell other people how you've had gains is leading so many lifters to lack real fitness because momentary explosive muscular strength, while that is actually part of fitness, is a very, very small part of it. Let's just first compare it to muscular endurance. Muscular endurance is a lot more important for living your life generally and avoiding, say, back pain from sitting in a wrong position because, your back muscles need endurance in a way, not like that much endurance, but kind of to sit up straight for a while, or if you are ever going to work, like you're say going to move and you're going to be picking up furniture, it doesn't matter if you can throw the couch over your head for 1 rep. You need to be able to haul that couch around for hours and then haul other furniture. Muscular endurance is a lot more functional when it comes to basically anything you're going to do in your general life. But both of those, when it comes to fitness and health, are a lot less important, I would say, than cardio. And there's also flexibility, which is, I think, between the two in a way, both of which are completely left by the wayside in favor of building just your visible physique and your 1 rep max. Why is this? Because sharing cardio gains, sharing muscular endurance gains, sharing flexibility gains are a lot harder to standardize, a lot harder to quantify, less impressive to look at. They're just less shareable, less clickable. A lot of the modern gym environment is a very social kind of atmosphere. You want to be able to share on social media. You want to be able to tell your friends. You want to be able to go to the gym with your friends and try and set a new record with them. What are you going to try to set a new record of? Oh, I'm going to run a new mile record. I'm going to do this exact same weight for more reps. Nah, that's hard to calculate. You're a gym bro. You don't think 2 plus 2 equals protein shake. So you're just going to do your 1 rep max. And this leads to a lot of guys setting for themselves a goal of becoming a pumped up mass monster who can move a lot of weight, but isn't actually overall very well-rounded, fit, or healthy. They just have a ton of fast twitch muscle fibers, which gain mass the quickest, but they don't have endurance, they don't have cardio, which is so hugely important that I simply can't understand why so many people who supposedly care about their health and fitness leave it by the wayside, and flexibility as well. Cardio and flexibility, and to an extent muscular endurance, are very important when it comes to aging well. A lot of guys who go to the gym, a lot of young guys particularly, are very in fear of aging. You know, they think when they age, they're going to lose their muscle, they're going to become weak, they're going to wrinkle. A lot of people will buy tons of anti-aging products, especially women, but also men to an extent, and put it all over their face, start bone smashing. You know, they have weird aesthetic trends like that, all in order to try and stave off, or at least get out of their minds and get themselves to stop worrying about the effects of aging. But the best and most important things that you can do, I'd say really kind of have to do, in order to age well and not end up completely immobile by the time you're 60, if the steroids don't kill you before 50, is to train your cardio so that you can go upstairs and not be exhausted, and especially important when it comes to aging, train your flexibility. Stretching, so many guys who go to the gym don't do it nearly enough. Not nearly long enough, not nearly enough muscles and joints, not nearly often enough, in order to maintain actual flexibility, even though it's not even uncomfortable like cardio is, which to be in good cardio shape compared to the average American, you don't need to actually confront any discomfort. I train cardio very, very hard because I do track and wrestling. You don't need to actually be that uncomfortable. Like, you can run for 2 minutes and then be in good cardio shape. That's literally what my stepdad does. But flexibility especially, if you don't train it, and it's really, really easy to train and not uncomfortable to train and will help you warm up for the actual muscular workout that you're doing, if you don't do it, that's how people end up, like they walk with walkers and they can barely move their back or anything by the time they're 60. This is, I believe, also what leads guys to take steroids, which is, I think, the biggest irony of all, because you're sacrificing your actual fitness and health in order to appear very fit, very healthy, very strong, which it's just a bunch of fluff in a way, and then your organs are melting inside of your body, which you basically lost the whole point of working out. The point of working out is you want to be in shape, you want to be fit and healthy, and then you're sacrificing that to look fit and healthy. So I think at the end of the day, the heart of this issue is gym culture itself, which prioritizes the hallmarks of fitness, which are very easy to quantify, very easy to look at and be like, oh wow, that guy looks so fit, that guy can lift so much, very easy to consume and share. And I think there's 2 ways that this problem can be avoided, just individuals in general. The first is to define your fitness progress yourself without really referencing gym culture at all. This is what I personally do, because I go to the gym sometimes. I often just work out at home, but I'm not really part of quote-unquote gym culture, even if I have researched it a lot. I'm not on all the gym social medias or whatever. So I just set specific goals for myself, such as I want to get faster at the quarter mile, because that's what I'm going to be running next year in track. I want to get better at wrestling, which isn't even really a fitness goal, but requires greater fitness. Or I want to increase my plank time, things that have a lot to do with muscular endurance, cardio, a lot of functional fitness things, rather than 1 rep maxes, which I've never really cared about much at all. But I think the only way that we can achieve a lasting solution for the majority of people, which is something that probably won't happen, to be honest, but I really wish it would be a change in gym culture, which would require people to figure out ways to define fitness that aren't really that easy to digest, such as a 1 rep max. I do think that there are really not that difficult ways that you can also measure muscular endurance and cardio. Like, you can standardize these things. Like, instead of 1 rep max bench, what's your max push-ups? Instead of 1 rep max row, what's max pull-ups? And with cardio, you can just set specific distances, mile, half mile, quarter mile. It's not actually that difficult, but they're definitely much less pleasant and much less fun, much less dramatic in a way, kind of exercises. So I don't expect these things to catch on. But if they did, I believe health and actual fitness would become a far greater part of the fitness community.